My name is Eli Hero Vincent, and I'm here simply to bring you the truth. The Black Caucus movement is a stage stemmed from a relentless pursuit of a systematic oppression of our people and an unwavering mental fortitude and desire to overcome it. We have invited leaders and warriors from all across our community to discuss the issues that plague us and restrict our advancement and put forth tangible yet radical solutions so that we may once again thrive as a people. With us today, I'm very honored and thrilled to be talking to the young brothers from Minneapolis so that we can have a discussion and a conversation about how we can come together and unite, maybe for the first time in America. In American history, will we be able to put our resources together so that we can affect our current situations. Coming up first, I have the power and the wonderful pleasure of welcoming Mr. Tony L. Clark, who is the friend and who George Floyd was the mentor to of the Minneapolis protests. He is one of the lead organizers, and I'm thrilled to have you. Welcome, Tony.
Welcome, welcome.
It is also my pleasure to introduce two other young brothers who are just as strong in the movement. Mr. Don, welcome. And Mr. Lavish James. Thank you guys for coming.
Man, appreciate you having us on.
Blessings, brothers. So I just want to first, again, I want to thank you guys for spending some time with us today, talking to all the people that are connected. We have a very good following thus far, and we just hope to keep spreading it with your voice and with our voice and giving everybody and elevating our platform. So we thank you for having us. We thank you for being on, and we love to have you.
Man, all the way. Thank you.
Lavish.
Yeah, we can come back to it.
Absolutely. Can you tell me about a little bit how you started there in the protest in Minneapolis? What got you?
For sure. So I'm from Minneapolis. I'm from 37th and 4th, which is just a couple blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered so viciously. I actually wasn't in the city. I wasn't even in the state when it happened. But, I felt like it was my responsibility, if being from such close proximity, if I'm not going to do it, who is going to do it? So I just felt like it was a responsibility for me to at least be there. I didn't know I was going to become such an integral part of what we've done. Minneapolis being one of the first cities to dismantle the police. So that has been amazing that we've been able to come together and not stop. And we've been going for over 2 weeks now. It's really been a roller coaster. And I just showed up. That's all I did. I just showed up. I didn't have any intentions of being on the front line or anything. I just knew that I had to hold my square. If I didn't, who is? So it was like a responsibility that I just felt like I had to uphold.
So you saw the video and you just came home?
Yeah, for sure. So I was in LA, and there's a lot of people from here that are in LA or they're in other places, and they didn't pull up immediately, but it happened 3 blocks away from where I grew up. The person who called the police on him, I used to go in that store every single day of my high school and middle school life. So, it would I couldn't have accepted myself. Like it would have weighed so heavy on my conscience if I didn't show up, and I've been there all day, every single day, all night. Last night, I didn't leave till 2 a.m. I got there at like noon, so just trying to do as much as I can for as many people.
And I think we have Tony back on. Tony, are you there?
Yeah.
But Tony, could you tell me a little bit about how you got started there and what happened that got you started?
Okay. How I started was I actually was on 38 on the 25th, and me not knowing what was going on, I didn't take cautious of the situation, not knowing that was George. And then, I came home and my sister showed me how fast it went viral, but not knowing it was George. And some told me, just like how Lavish said, that I couldn't just sit back and just relax on it. And, knowing that George to me was like a mentor slash a father. He told me like he was a father figure. So like some told me like just step out and you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta I feel like God was telling me like you gotta stand up and you gotta start leading. And
Where
so
did you meet him? Where did you meet George at?
I met George at, on Lake Street at his job. Like I used to go over there a lot, and I used to do promote. I used to promote and do security, and so just that and plus on 38th, and we used to have like deep conversations about leading the youth. Telling me not to be afraid. You know what I'm saying? He said he see potential in me. Like I'm different. You know what I mean? And from that point, knowing that all the knowledge, understanding, the wisdom he was giving me, I couldn't be quiet and I couldn't hush about it because at the end of the day, it's like, you know what I mean? I want his word and I want his momentum to live on. And so the second day, you know what I mean, I walked into it because like that same night, it went up, the whole Minnesota just went up. And I walked on Lake Street, and it was weird because like I'm writing a book right now, and like I kind of seen the witness of the windows getting busted out, and my phone got stolen that same night, and I was frustrated, and because as they executed George, I didn't think they was gonna shut down Cup, and so me normally being at Cup, my family know the people that's from Cup that own it. I went to Cup the next day, and I see a lot of people there. And everybody's like hitting me up like, hey, did you hear what happened? I'm like, nah. But I went there and I started speaking. And from that point on, people started paying attention to me and started, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it was God and George, you know what I'm saying, directing me and guiding me through the beginning of the protests. I didn't even know what protesting was. You know what I mean? Because when my brother died, they tried and it went under the rug. So, you know what I mean? As I kept on going and going, it just got stronger and stronger. And then, I marched 1,100 people the second day through the city, and I started, cutting off me that was inside of me that was leading. And so we walked through we went from 38 to Chicago to the suburbs. We was like, we gonna make them hear us. And so we went to the suburbs. We shut down the main spot where everybody go through Lake Calhoun to go down to Lake Street on Uptown. And then when we did that, it's just like something told me like just keep marching. And so we marched from 30th to Chicago to Lake Calhoun, from Lake Calhoun to the third pre, and we walked through the fire. We as we was doing all that, we didn't know that it was going up like that. And so we seen all that. I told people don't look left or right, just keep going forward. We're gonna march through this. And every day, I was out there, cutting off every block on Lake Street. I was frustrated. I was lost, kind of, excuse my French, but effed up, not knowing, like what was the step, enough was enough. And then I started praying. I started asking God, like, give me the instructions and the tools from them. I did my 31-day Proverbs. Just give me the wisdom, like, how to, orchestrate this. Next minute, my guys, Soda and everybody, I met Lavish. It's crazy. I knew of Lavish, I knew of him. And I always wanted to kick it with Brody, but I was too busy, like, like what George was telling me, go home, He kept telling me, get out these streets, go home to your family, my kids' mom and stuff. But, because Lavish got a name, people up here know him, And so God, it's so crazy that God put all those young men in stands to, he put us 4 leaders in stand. Cause like I said, it's me, Lavish, Don, Soda, and like we got real respect, people respect us because we have to, lead, and that's what we've been doing. And like, Lavish been teaching me a lot of things. I've been teaching him a lot of things. It's funny because I met him on the hill when I told everybody like don't go down to the when we was protesting on the bridge before the semi, before the semi we protest, and I kept telling them like, come on, let's get off this bridge. It's a setup. And that's when I met Lavish, And from that point on, we've been real tight, every day checking on each other. We've been, checking on the community, making sure the community is good, fed, tissue, everything they need, We're doing what exactly we're supposed to do in the beginning, Is build unity with our community. And so just that point on, we've been out there every night, We've been out there through like the fear, Like the day, I'm at Lavish that we was like, do not run. You know what I mean? Our ancestors ran. They've been through worse than us, like dogs, water, you know what I'm saying? All that type of stuff. And Lavish called him old man with the stick, the wizard. Like he was out there with us, and like, like he kind of touched me that day. Like he's like knowing that he said he was at the civil rights movement in the '60s. And he said that I'm not running, and he stood there. We all got tear gas. We had to get milk in my eyes. Like I'm like, man, I started kind of getting used to it. And Lavish and him, they got arrested. Everybody pulled me away. It was crazy. That's how much love it was. People pulled me away and said, "No, you can't go to jail. We need you. We need you." And so I was trying to walk back into the scene when it hurt my heart. I wanted to break down because I'm like, man, I feel like I'm walking away from something I stand for. And people was like, Tony, if you locked up, you know what I'm saying? You can't continue because, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of bad stuff going on with the police system and like the jails and stuff. And so, they knew that I couldn't go to jail. So from that
in this time that you guys are coming together, how many days did it take to actually make something? Because I seen a little bit of the live stream. I seen a little bit of you guys working out there. You got a kitchen, you got food, and people donating stuff. I heard you guys raised a lot of money and all this. How many days did it take for you guys to get organized enough for you to do that? And then what are you at now? Like, how is the organization working now? Lavish, you could start off with that.
All right. So I got here on the second day, like when the looting started. So I can't speak on the first day. Like at Cup Foods at 38th in Chicago is where that organization is.
Tony, can you press mute?
That stronghold on 38th in Chicago. Like I said, I can't speak on the first day. I got there on the second day, but
Tony,
this man, bro, click that mute
Tony,
button.
Can you hear me?
Hit the microphone button, bro.
I'm doing.
Yeah, if you press the microphone button, it'll hit mute. There you go.
Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Like I was saying, the first day I can't really speak on it, but as soon as I got to the city, I went to my crib where I grew up on 37th and 4th. If anybody that watches this is from Minneapolis, you know exactly where that is, the proximity to where the event actually occurred. So I went there first. I just felt like I had to touch base. I don't have any family that really lives here anymore, but the first thing I did was just to touch base with where my roots, right? So then I went there, and it was structured. It was organized. It was divine. It was put together, and it was obvious that it was going to keep building, and it was like a place you could go and recharge. It was like a refuge. It was like a Disney
community.
It didn't even make sense because you've never seen it. It's not, you may have seen it, but it's not common. You don't see it every day. But when you see, I'm vegan, when you see fruit and vegetables lining the streets of the hood where it used to be so bad that you would just avoid it, and then there's people barbecuing over here, and there's this, and there's medical attention, and there's nurses, and then there's, bro, name it, it was there. Name it, and it was there. Name anything you could ever desire, and it was there, and it was all free, and it was all love. So it has only progressed since that. It was immediate. It was like, it's like the collective conscious just came together, and everybody knew at once what to do. It was awe-inspiring for real. And since then, it has only further developed. Since then, there's been voting registration. Since then, at first, it wasn't completely barricaded, and the National Guard tried to get in there. Militarized police tried to get in there. So we'd have earlier in the day 5,000 people, 7,000, 10,000 people on this one block, this one intersection. And then later in the night, the numbers dwindle. There was a curfew at 8 p.m. 8 p.m., they'd be like, yo, we're just letting you know they will come. They came. They tried. It didn't work for them. We've held it down in this autonomous zone like they've done in Seattle just recently and other places. They did it in Paris in 1924. And now it's barricaded to the point where nobody's getting through.
Are you saying there's no cops in the area?
There was police that came through one time, but they, I think Soda talked to them first, like, yo, somebody got injured. And was like, yo, we need you to get them out. We have a whole nurse system in there, doctors and everything. But I think due to the how extensive their injury was. Maybe they needed police to be there, but nah, yo, nothing. Like I said, National Guard has tried, and eventually they just were like, yo, they got it. It's theirs.
How far off is the first police station that's still in operation?
That's on 31st and Nicollet. It's on 31st and Nicollet and 38th in Chicago. So Nicollet and Chicago, they both go this way. 31st and 38th go this way. So it's 7 blocks this way and then like 7 blocks that way. So it's like you can walk there in 15 minutes.
Okay, so you have a 7-block radius.
Oh, of our zone? No, we have like a two blocks this way, 2 blocks this way. So it's like 4 blocks.
I see.
Yep.
And that's the zone that everybody's kind of congregating at.
Man, at first people were sleeping there. People, like, you couldn't find a more peaceful place.
You were occupying.
Man, in the realest way. It was so amazing. Like I said, when I said collective conscious, that really sums it up, because I feel like nobody came and was like, yo, we got to do this. It just happened.
Yeah, it sounds like, it's unfortunate that it happens with the situation that it did, but it does sound like the same thing that happened with an Occupy, because we weren't expecting what it created, what it turned out to be. We were just expecting to be there for a rally, and then it turned out to be this long stay thing, and we had to fill positions of the needs, right? We needed food, so we had a kitchen area. We needed, supplies, and we need nurses. These spaces are created, and the thing that's so fantastic about it, and fantastical, because it's something that most of us don't have the privilege of witnessing and being a part of for a long part of our lives.
Really,
is that immediate visual connection to community. Like everybody is working with different skills to provide for the ecosystem, for the ecology of everybody.
And that you just touched on, the ecosystem is so lacking on a day-to-day basis that when you see it, you damn near, you don't believe it.
You're so surprised. It's like witnessing a miracle happen, and it steals your heart away, and it makes you just want to be in that space forever. It's very utopic.
It is for sure.
We just had Don come in. I think his connection was. Let's get a little introduction from you, Don, and what you're working on currently, and your side projects as well.
Yeah, it was good, people. Yeah, I had some technical issues, but we good now. But as you know, also Design Fashion, Don Lux is the name of the brand. Lavish, I got your package, Lavish. It came in. I'm over here.
I'm ready.
I got it, as well as the other things, we deal with like different security entities and different, outreach groups and so on and so forth, man. I like to take the title as a savant, if you will.
How did you get involved with the movement?
Honestly, I don't even know, bro. I was just here. Like from the day one. I was just here, and I came across DJ Soda. He knew my cousin. He grew up with my cousin Phil. And I honestly still don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. I just ended up here, bro. And there's like so many of us. I ask people like, yo, how did you end up here? And people say, yo, I don't know. So that's how I know it's a true calling. Shall I word it that way? Because people are just here and they don't know how. It's like these young ladies from Canada, they're here right now. They're supposed to be going 2 days ago. They have the border restriction. They have to schedule a time to enter back, and they just can't break away. You know what I mean? We hear it. You see where we are, man. We're here, bro. We on the ground, man.
What was your relationship with Floyd?
Honestly, I didn't have any personal relationship with him. But my relationship with him is that we're all black in America, bro. We all here, and we're living the same. We live in the same truth and horror story every day. Like Meek Mill said, it's 2 sides to America. We have 2 Americas, and we have the America where the white man can get pulled over by an officer and curse out the officer, tell him off, and then we have another. Then we have another America where, you and I will be petrified. We're ready our stomach will jump out our mouths if we get pulled over. So it's 2 sides to the America, man. And I connect with George Floyd by living that side he lived his whole life. as well as you have as well. So that's how I know.
Well, it's good that you do all have the same experience and the same feeling. I feel,
Yeah.
and this is why we're all kind of getting to this space of organizing and how we can better uplift our community. Tony, I want to know. Speaking about the space that we're living in this growth in this community, what are some of the things that you're seeing right now that could be used right now in the space that y'all are trying to build?
I could
What kind
touch
of resources are
on.
needed? Yeah, up and down.
I want to touch on real quick what Lavish said when he said the ecosystem. I feel like our economy, just the word eco in at its whole, we need to one establish it or realize that we have one to establish. That's one. We have to recognize it. If we don't recognize it, we fail to acknowledge it. We feel like there's no hope. We feel like we don't have anything, which we do. So we need to acknowledge the black dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once we acknowledge the black dollar, then we need to take control back of our own dollar, of
Mm-hmm.
our own spending, of our own income, of our own resources. And then once we do that, we can develop plants, agriculture, infrastructure. And most people don't really get what I mean. But when I say infrastructure, I mean it as far as the transit systems, the power grids, the 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 future blueprints that how the city projects the economy to go and how it want to look in the past next 10, 20 years. We need to really implant ourselves in infrastructure. Nothing happens without infrastructure. And then once you have that, we can build and fulfill a more fluent ecosystem, like Lavish mentioned. Once
Right.
we do that, then next step to be is to secure it. And once you secure it, which that would take a while, but once you secure it, then the next step to be is to make sure it's protected. You know what I mean? And once you have that, it's good as the leaders that you have in place. But those are the basics, because I know that's what you really want to touch on. How do we get to where we can self-sustain? Not even sustain. How can we get to where we're self-efficient? So
Yeah, self-reliant on our own resources. How do we reallocate the things that we've already built back
exactly.
to our own community, and then keep that sustaining within itself? So that's why I kind of wanna break down exactly what are the flaws, what are the holes right now, so that we can expand, we can fill those holes and make sure that we cemented the foundation, and then we can build on top of it.
And
So yeah, so Tony, tell me about what you see is some of those holes that you're in your ecosystem right now. What are some of the holes that you're finding that can break down what you're trying to build right now?
You talking about me or Don?
Yeah, I'm talking about you, Tony.
I feel like that us being consistent in the recognition of like what is really going on outside the picture, because as these days have been encountering with us, that I'm starting to see that you know Minnesota opened back up. A lot of people not staying in the mid focus right now, like it's trying to what I'm saying, loosen up. And I feel like first thing that I think that we accomplished, we getting close to accomplish, is having a school so we can teach, the system of us, working with each other and educating each other. I think that's the biggest thing, us educating each other, the next move, you know what I mean? To open up, what's next. And, you can't do what I've been, organizing, keeping everything organized. And like you told me, it's like we got to make sure that everything falls in the organized, because I feel like as there'd be a couple of days when we started forming this, people was butting heads because it wasn't organized. And I feel like, we got to finance, somebody that's going to break it down credit repair. We got a person that's going to break it down economics. We got a person that's going to break it down, the system. People, I got friends that's want to come in and teach, how to prepare yourself for like anything, like, enrolled in life. And so I feel like the holes or some flaws that we can tighten up is, like I heard about yesterday, and it kind of like moved me. I think a lot of people getting, as they sit around each other, everybody's starting to get irritated. Like it's starting to like, what I mean? Like me was talking earlier, it's like a lot of people are starting to like not move off of cause, but just move off their emotions now.
Why do you think that?
Because I feel like they going back into like I feel like that. Like I said, I think honestly, let me think before y'all answer this question. I feel that people is how like the system was like we was imprisoned in our mind that it would never change. It's always it's gonna go back into the same roots. You know what I mean? I felt like people is starting to like get back into man. So what? This is my hood. This is my hood before this, and it's gonna be my hood afterwards. And I feel like as us leaders, we should press on the situation of letting people know that it's more to it. Because I mean, what happened yesterday, I felt like if I was there, you know what I'm saying, I could have like spoke to my because to be to talk to the streets, you got to be the streets sometimes. You got to be of the streets, and that's what George was. That's why I took in a lot of things he said to me because he not being from Minnesota, but still he from 99% of us black men from is the streets, and so that's why a lot of people put their trust into me because they know that I'm speaking both sides. I'm speaking the education, and I'm speaking the streetwise. You know what I mean? Because you want them to you want to be abolished, but like I said, what's the move? Okay, how are you going to prepare yourself? So when we step up and try to get them to step down, do you guys have a plan? You know what I mean? Everything in life is about planning. Like it was hard, like them couple of days of getting 38 in Chicago organized because one person wanted to play the one man, one rule. This is I control. And then it's like instead of us all coming together and playing a role with each other, like you take care of that, you take care of that, you get on that, you get on that. It was like one person. I'm gonna take care of everything and everything that go through me, and that's a downfall. That's that hole that you're talking about. That I started seeing that was getting tightened as day by day go. And I felt like the loosening is as we started educating each other. And so I'm glad that, people been playing their role, like sort of, contact one of the schools nearby, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's more to this, you know what I mean? Like I said, rest in peace to my father figure, but it's more to George, you know what I mean? It's other people suffering in different areas that, but it just, what happened with him prove what America been doing to us for 500 plus years is putting their needs on our neck of everything, not just our lives. It's our success. It's where we live, where we feel comfortable. What can we do and can't do in life,
Right. So we got an idea basically of what's going on in Minneapolis. All right, guys. So let's just sit down, not think about panel right now. You know what I'm saying? We're three black men. We smart. We're building these platforms. We're organizing, and we're doing something positive with our lives. We're trying to make change. So let's just sit down as those three black men and let's chat. Let's talk. All right. Let's make this a space where we think and we put our heads together and we put our minds together to actually build something better. Right. Create these alternatives that we're discussing right now. So first, let's just say like, all right, Lav, if we y'all doing away with the police, right? So one of the conversations that's going around and is great is they're saying defund the police. Most people don't understand what that means, but right now y'all have gone farther in the space that you are in, and you didn't just defund them, you abolished their presence.
Yeah.
So what is the next step to make sure that you can continue that on? Where do you go next? How do we do that?
I think firstly, people got to be educated on what abolishing.
How do we educate them?
There should be you go to a school and there's like a standardized curriculum. You could learn it in Alabama or you could learn it in California. There's a standardized curriculum, so everybody basically gets the same indoctrination. So there should be some sort of education in form. It doesn't have to be formal. It can just be to the point where we understand what we're saying when we say abolish the police. On 38th in Chicago, I don't want there to be no police.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people don't want there to be no police.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the
Depends
way
on
that
who
they
you are.
currently exist.
Depends on who you are.
Right.
Depends on
Now,
what you
the
look
way that
like.
they currently exist.
Yeah.
The way that they currently exist is horrible. I went to Columbia College in Chicago for marketing and African American studies. I double majored.
Mm-hmm.
The current police that exist in America are the exact same group. You see, you know what I'm about to say. They're the
Slave
exact
patrol.
same group as the runaway slave catchers. They
Yeah.
didn't change the slogan. They didn't change the logo. They didn't change the uniform. They didn't change the positions. Nothing. So we can abolish it in its current form and rebuild it in some way. You know, sometimes Tony quotes Malcolm X a lot with this quote. Sometimes you got to burn it down to build it back up. So that being said, a group, Black Visions, ran up on the mayor and said, "Yo, will you abolish the police?" There's not one politician in the world that will abolish the police. So the fact that we're actually able to go ahead and get it black and white, real reform, real laws on paper, real change, that's amazing. We can abolish the way it is, right? Like if I said, let's abolish cars, let's not get rid of cars, but let's get rid of gasoline. Let's get rid of the pollution. Let's abolish the current system and culture behind it. In Buffalo, you know about this. They pushed the old man over. They fired the other 57 officers quit. That's like riding for your gang. That's like like if your homie murdered somebody, free him. Right. That's a gang mentality. The police are the strongest union. Strongest gang. They have the strongest union in America. That's why when they bond out so fast, so quick, so smooth. So
they're organized. So we got to be just as smart and organized as they are. We got to be ahead of it. We can't just be on the front lines, you know, oh yeah, we want change.
Because there's people, I have an attorney friend. He's 47, Jewish dude, well off. He lives in the suburbs. All his neighbors are just waiting. We just going to wait it out because eventually they're going to get tired of protesting. That's why it has to be black and white. It has to be on paper. And exactly. But to answer your question, I guess, abolishing it in its current form for sure. And that's what we're doing. We're taking the guts out of it and rebuilding it. You know, we need to do it, restructure a new blueprint, change the whole game of it.
So we need an educational program. How do we spread this educational? How do we first develop this educational program on a small level that we can disseminate this information amongst the small community?
I think there could be a
take that same tactic out around.
The first step is to me is like
let me get Don in this one.
Don, where you at?
Don.
He just put his phone down.
That boy's at the barbecue right now. He shouldn't have pulled up to the
block. Hold on, let me get a hot dog. He said mute. Let me get one of them hot dogs.
Don.
I feel like the biggest step right now is getting more people that went to school for culture that can break it down and educate economics. And like I feel like when you hear the word abolish, to me it's like recalibrate. To me it's like resharpening. To me it's like redoing. You know what I mean? And I felt like that's what people, because New York Times asked me, they said, do you think that we should have no more police? And I said, absolutely, we should have police, because they thought I was going to say not. But I said, absolutely, we should have, because if you think about it, if we don't have, okay, yeah, my hands registered for boxing. Yes, I did jiu-jitsu. Yes, I got my concealed carry. But how many people out there just ready to, it's like when you watch them TV shows where there's people taking over cities and ambushing cities. That's exactly what we told them. That's exactly what's going to happen. Is people not going to be using their right side of mind, and it's cops that's out there that's actually good cops that, like I heard D-Ray said, the cops that need to stop putting suburbs cops in the hood that don't feel comfortable in that neighborhood. That's what they should do. Is start and take a mental reevaluation. Take you know what I'm saying. Check up on how many crime or how many complaints they had. You know, check up on where people. I mean, reports in that area.
We need a local system of election for the police. That if we are abolishing the police, we're abolishing the system. So if the system is abolished, then none of the police should have any quarrel with being rehired, with having a rehiring assessment.
That's hard.
So
I never thought about that's hard.
If you're already a good cop, we can look at your history and the people, you'll stand in front of a jury of us, not your peers, but us and your community, and they will decide, after looking at your history, if you're going to be well qualified, and your mental stability, if you're well qualified enough to handle this job. And that's an easy tactic that you can already be, your taxes are already paid for this. You can if you go to your government system and say, we can already restructure the way that we do hiring, and we want us to have more power and say off of who is patrolling our children, then you have that power to do so. We just have to collectively come together in this and agree that that's the language that we want to use. Yes, we want abolishment of the system, because the system is meant to oppress and suppress the people that are in it. But if we have a system that the people created, we no longer have to fear it. Then we will put our money and our funds and right back into it. So and the other programs that are necessary to making sure that we are mentally capable of being in these places and in these environments. So if we, that's something I think is very, very tangible. If we can build language like that, when we talk about abolishment and we talk about abolition, if we can build language like that, then I don't see anybody standing in the way of that sort of abolition.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like that. That's hard. You know, I love the voting process. I like democracy. Who was it? Was it Plato that got killed because he said there should be no democracy? He said no, it was Socrates. Socrates got killed because he said the common people aren't smart enough to make decisions on themselves. He's basically the one that created electoral college like 2,000 years ago. He said the common people aren't smart enough, but I disagreed with that, and I feel like this like having an electorate system for the people that serve you, and you know, we have it for presidents who barely serve us directly. We have it for governors, we have it for Congress, Senate. It should be for police because they serve you so directly. I never thought about that. That's a critical piece right there. But once again, education. What percentage of black people actually go vote?
Right. Well, there's a good question about that and about voting and about the political system, right? So for me, myself, I don't really talk about politics.
Right.
I understand my politics. I don't really talk about it too much because as deep as I've tried to educate myself on how the system works, the more that I realize it's not meant to work for us.
Exactly.
And so as it's not meant to work for us and we continue to take part in that system, it kind of goes to me like, what am I doing? And why am I partaking in this game? Facts. So if that's the case, I still want to stay on before we fly off of the hinges and digress too far. Is Don back? Is Don done eating the barbecue?
No.
Don, did you finish your burger?
Man, I need to pull up on him.
Hey, where the?
I saw some tinfoil, and I saw there he is.
Look, come back now. You got it on mute.
Unmute it.
There he is. Oh no, he need to go back on mute. What's up, Don? Welcome to the conversation.
Lavish, you better bring some vegan broccoli.
Yeah, man, you see that? He said I better bring some vegan broth. There's so many options for so many
people.
Hey,
this man has turned me into a vegan over the time.
Are you back, Don? Are you done with your barbecue?
Man, I had some hibachi, man. It was.
See, we figured you had to go off and catch something. That's what happened.
Shrimp. What's up? Tell me what's going on, baby.
We're just talking about abolishing the system and what we can do to educate the people about some of the things. How do we fill those holes that are going on in that space?
You know, the biggest hole, biggest hole that I can contribute with is our history. Is our history. We don't understand how much we have already done. We don't understand how much that was erased from us, stolen from us, hidden from us. This is why we feel like we can't do these certain things. We have to learn our history so we can know how far we can go or how far we already are.
So
today, for example, right? Today, I had a list of the black inventors, and it was over 300 names on that list, and it was literally 80% of the things we use in our daily lives. From the hairdryer to the doorbell to the doorknob, simplest things, all the way to, as we know, the White House. And that right there would tell you of our history. You know, the only uh uh people to successfully fly in and conquer another country by air were the Tuskegee Airmen. That's us. If we know our history and then we know where we came from, and then we know what we have done since we were enslaved and brought to this land and treated unfairly, and the triumphs that we went through to get to that level, we could understand that honestly what we're doing now is nothing but a walk in the cake. I mean, you know, a walk in the park, you know, it's a slice of cake. And honestly, truly it is, bro. We never had social media. Now, if I need you, I can just call you. Versus back in the day, I have to travel however long just to get to your house. You know, so we have to, is the education of history, bro. I'm a true, solid believer. We have to educate ourselves with our own history.
So how do we implement that? Because teaching history, right, is a good thing. Once we know our history, once we know how the last generation or the generation that we just lost, right, that no longer lives, if we can go back 100 years, none of those people 100 years ago are still here. So they're not here to tell that history in its fullness, right? But we're pretty close to it. So how do we take that history, that recent history, that always inspires and always pushes us to stand up? Because they was lynching us in the street just like 50 years ago. It wasn't that
Yeah,
long,
it
and they're
wasn't
still
that
doing
long.
it in a different way today. How do we create a system or a little program or something right there in the streets?
Honestly, you have to be willing. Is honestly, it's preaching the preach we're preaching. If we're
Yep.
saying, if we're saying, listen, we need our history, then that sparks the mind of, okay, so what's our history? You know, and then that's how you start the conversation. You need to spark. So we keep on preaching the preach that we're preaching. That's why where that saying comes from. Keep fighting the good fight. You have to keep preaching it, and even if you don't know your per se history, but you know you need to know it. By you preaching that, it's going to a brother say, "Come here, brother. Let me talk to you. I know what you seek. I have those answers for you. Let me show you something. Let me lay this down." There's always going to be an elder. That's why we have to respect our elders, and that's why we have to seek and go to them. And as I said, we have technology nowadays that gives us these outlets. You know, the encyclopedia is at the tip of our fingers. You know what I mean? So it's there, and what you're essentially asking is, how do we teach the history?
Can I
So,
tap in?
I would say, honestly, is first you have to filter the history because we're taught a lot of lies and a lot of things from the unseen. So first you have to, like you said, you're taught things, and you could also unlearn things. So we have to unlearn a lot of things first to be acceptable to the things that we are going to learn. You know, and I believe, you know, on the smallest level possible, that's how it should start and go. Now, however, or the steps you take to get there is you know, to its own. But
Right.
on the minuscule level, you have to consciously know that you know things that you shouldn't even have learned because they're a lie. So once you unlearn those things and learn how to decipher between things, because this is the beauty of confusion. I tell you truth, I tell you lie, I tell you something that's mixed with truth and lie. You don't know which way to go. And any way you do go, it's still my way. And that's the world we live in. So once we consciously have that, and then from your conscious, you take it to your self-conscious. So you walk around conscious. To be conscious of something is to be in the known, to be alert with. So you walk around with a defense mechanism within your conscious, but self-conscious is the things you do without realizing, the things that are embedded in your mental DNA. So once we have that in our mental DNA, as in, you know, this is my brother. He can't hurt me. He is to protect me. You know, we're not the ones that are hurting each other. We're here at the protest today. You know, I don't even like to call it a protest. We're here at the revolution, if you will. And we're here, Bloods, Crips together, congregating. You got people that never met each other a day in their life, feeding each other, you know, clothing each other, singing, praying, like Lavish said, they're literally sleeping on the streets here, bro, for like a week. You know, like it's a beautiful thing, bro. So I believe that we already know how to do it. We just have to want to do it.
Right.
Like you know, it's like if you're hungry, you're gonna get up and cook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's
You
what we
wanted to
doing, bro.
respond to that, Tony? You wanted to respond to that, Tony? I think he froze out. That's all right.
Word, I'm still in here. I guess I can respond to that.
Go ahead,
I
Lavish.
think bro keeps bringing up education as a major factor. Like I brought up, I went to school for African American Studies. You know, if you as mixed as me, bro, it's kind of crazy. Malcolm X and Huey P, bro, talked about how the lighter skinned people will often go harder for their race because they want people to know that they're a part of it. But even if you're not as damn melanin deficient as myself, you still may not know what all it entails to be a part of the community and color that you are. So if you go to Africa, they don't even teach them African history. They teach them like slave period African history. I was just in Morocco not too long ago, which is pretty colonized by Arabs, but definitely still a huge Moorish presence there, which myself, I'm actually mixed with Moorish. It's crazy. But aside from education, there needs to be equity. You know, that's like, I was, before Nipsey passed, I was actually cool with Nipsey. I opened for him on tour and I could pull up on him. And dude was just one of the smartest people you will ever meet, you know? So one of his major things was he would always just call it mailbox money. You know, he had an album or a mixtape called Mailbox Money, but it's where you just get the check that comes right to you, you know, and that's equity. If you go to other countries, a lot of people don't have jobs, but they're not poor because they own their house or they own their land. So alongside the education needs to be equity. And I think those two things can create more equality because the playing field is not even at all. You know what I mean? It's like
How
you
do we
got
gather
100, I
equity
got
in
10.
that location?
What's that?
How do we gather equity in your space, in your location? How do we start the process on coming together as a group and then starting to take over more and more space in that place and
Man, once again,
reallocating that space to people?
that education part is so critical.
So we have, let's say we have this platform, right? This platform is an educational platform. Anybody that comes and speaks on it specializes in some form of industry.
Right.
And
Maybe it's
you can
mortgages or
come.
loans or whatever. Have you seen Earn Your Leisure?
No, I haven't.
It's a podcast, and it's these two black dudes from Brooklyn, and all they talk about is how to get an FHA loan, how your first-time home buyer is only 3% down. Bro, if you have $3,000, you can get $100,000 house.
Right.
People don't know
Yeah.
that though. You know what I mean? Bro, a house in LA is so expensive, but the actual plot of land it's on isn't. People don't know that either. You know, so what do they say? What do they say? What is the quote? If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book.
In a book.
That right there should make people mad enough to be like, yo, what's in these books? But I think equity, education can definitely create more equality. And people just got to want it. Like he brought up, if you're hungry, you're going to cook. But at the same time, when there's so much oppression and you're lacking, you're coming from such a place of lack, sometimes you don't know what you want or why you should want it.
Right.
So these communities.
And how to ask for it.
Exactly. These community gatherings like this teach you that. They show you that. They create more stability and structure in your day-to-day life. So I feel this is kind of not trying to go on a tangent, but I feel like this, like where it is, the Memorial 38th in Chicago, this should occur even when there's not a tragedy. This should be happening on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly basis.
Hey,
Right.
did you ever hear that only time family come together is at a funeral, right?
Right.
And this what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna hit it with a Big Bang Theory on top of the head. I feel like I've been watching a lot of Malcolm X. I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been doing a lot of study. I've been filling in a lot of holes that I did not know with these couple of days. And I feel that one thing we need to do is, like we said, get the school enrolled. You know, we are the teachers. We are, you know what I'm saying? So, like, first thing we need to do is organize these gangs. We need to let these, organize gangs and start teaching them that, what I'm saying, we're not against each other. We with each other, you know what I mean? And I feel like we need to talk to the community, because I feel like it is true. It shouldn't have to start with a death, like to get everybody, you know what I'm saying, come together on the block. I feel like we was taught, like how Don said, we was taught, you know what I mean? And we have to recycle our mind to realize that we're not blind. So we can't forget what happened, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a new train. It's a new train mindset that we got to have. You know what I mean? That we know now. We know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the biggest thing, like what Malcolm X was doing, he was setting a lot of gathers. You know what I'm saying? He was going there and teaching people self-defense, how to self-defense, like, because it's in the law that he was teaching a lot of things, like how to come up upon, like, if situations occur. I felt like, like we should have multiple classes. Like I told Sutter, like we need to have classes on every education spot. Like one thing they took out of school is money, and like I told them, like I have two friends that's seven figures, and like I asked them, is a weakness to you guys is telling people to plan how you came rich? He said no, and another guy said yeah. I asked the guy that said yeah. I said, why? He said, because the rich want to keep the poor. If the rich tell you how to be rich, then there won't be no poor. Because like you gotta think about it, the door is wide open. Like on 38th in Chicago is a wide door. So like what frustrates me a lot, and people keep like, Tom, calm down, is that I can't force no one to stand up and wake up and put their fists up, but I could, you know what I'm saying? It's like you got to be willing to want change, and change start within you. You know what I'm saying? Change start with yourself. And so if you can't recycle that and clean out that, the like I always say, the rear view is smarter than the windshield. You know what I mean? Because our future is brighter than our past. So it's like you said, it's our last gen. It's the last gen to the civil rights. So like now we got the door wide open. What are we gonna do to walk through that door? That's why I told you, like with the whole thing with the cops, that they trying to take the cases further out to Duluth, because they educate, they know what to do to stop. Like right now, as the abolishment and plan and set, like they setting they stones together so they can destroy whatever we trying to put together. So right now, I understand everybody coming to club to unite, to talk, to get away in whatever they do. I can't even say what people do no more, because every day is a different day. And so I feel like we should be down there and really be down there. Like, like that's why I told people like that can vote in Hennepin County, push that more. You know what I'm saying? Change start within ourselves. So if you're not willing to, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot. Like I said, like learn your history, but learn how to become the future of your history. Because we in our, you know what I'm saying, this is a one-time chance that we got, you know what I mean? And it's like, is we gonna let it slip away, or we gonna grab it by, not to say it, by this throat?
Don, what are some of the other things, the other holes that you see? Is he still back to barbecuing? Okay.
I'm here.
Lavish, what are some of the other things that you see that we can point out some of these holes so that we can be long-term sustainable?
Man, another hole is black people in the right position to make things happen. We need more black lawmakers, even more black police officers, more black teachers. I know that I used to get suspended all the time. I only had one black teacher. I never got kicked out of his class once. It was way too much respect. I'm not about to wild out in his class, but like, I'm not gonna lie. If a white woman was my teacher, I'm going crazy. Even if a white man was my teacher, I would be a little more calm. You know what I mean? But more black teachers, more black people in all positions. America, they say is only 14% black. I feel like it might be a little bit higher. They just don't want to publicize that on the census just to make it seem more white dominating, But let's say it's just 20%. There is not 20% of school teachers are not black. 20% of lawmakers are not black. 20% of police officers are not black. But, so our demographic should be filled in every position that there is. I feel like that's a major hole. In Minneapolis, our 5th district, Ilhan Omar, she represents us. That's amazing. you know, but that can't be said for everywhere. So I feel like that's a huge hole. That's a huge disadvantage. You know, I made music for so long. Everybody want to make music. Bro, go become an attorney. Stop making music. You don't need to play basketball, bro. You can become a civil servant of some sort. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a huge hole.
We
They
gotta start
promote the wrong
educating
things.
and making those positions more prestigious for our people.
Mm-hmm.
For one, not the opportunity to be there, but like we glorify the celebrity culture, and
Exactly.
because we glorify and glamorize that culture, that becomes our ambition, our only. Because it's like you take one and you make it the exception, and you put it on a pedestal, and then everyone thinks they can get that carrot.
Yeah.
And when we're not glorifying the ability that you brothers have to be on this platform and speak and articulate yourselves, you make great teachers. But for one, the opportunity didn't always arise for you. Well, coming up as a child, I mean, we're here now, we're teaching, so really, it is. But do you ever feel like you were the position of being a teacher or being in a position of service is something that is what people want to do, is what people have ambitions to do where you come from?
Right.
I was taught like basically growing up that, man, that stuff boring. I'm trying to catch myself. I don't want to say SS. I don't want to cuss on here, but like we was basically, to me, I felt brainwashed by the system, and like the wrong people in the streets was teaching us the wrong things. Like basically, they was taught the wrong things, and like it went generation to generation. Like nobody wanted to be a police. Everybody glorified, like in the music game, everybody glorified drugs, materialistic, and all that type of stuff. Like my cousin just said something stupid today. He said, "Cuz to be light skinned, cuz you gotta have a dope boy knot. You gotta have this and have that." I said, "Nah, because he's really intelligent." And so like, he right. We need more black people getting involved and change that mimic of F the police, because you know what I mean. Then no one ain't gonna want to be the police because the movement is F12s right now, and so I feel like that. It don't. Hey, Lavish, how long they say it takes you to become a officer?
8 weeks of training. It's like
Okay,
700, 800
so
hours, I think.
it takes 90 hours to get your real estate license. So it's a little bit of time that you could sacrifice instead of being out here kicking and hanging out. You could become into the justice system, learn the system, you know. But we got all this music promoting them to walk away and stand further from what, you know. Like I said, like we could change it if we join it. Become the structure. The structure of we can reach.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we start off small, right? So what I'm hearing a bunch of different needs, and I'll point them out. We need the ability to mobilize people into the area, right? We need attention, so we need to be able to have creative um, uh, actions that motivate people to take part and inspire people to take part. We need to we need a team of people that can create very direct action that motivates and inspires people to mobilize, right? That's one of the needs that I hear coming out of the movement. Number two, we need educational program, either a space where we can develop workshops onto where people can come out to and gather this information about history and about our present situation and what we can do to move forward. We need some sort of program right there. And we also need a communion space, a space where we get our spiritual awareness, where we get spiritually uplifted, where we fellowship with each other.
That's key.
And so these are the needs right now, the immediate needs that's going to keep us sustainable. And we need to organize the gangs, right? And so like bringing everybody from different walks of life and saying like we need to stop fighting each other and start directing our focus onto protecting each other. So
Amen.
I think some of these things can be fulfilled within our abilities, right? These things are tangible. So for one, organizing the gangs, I think can be done. Is it possible? Let's address this. Is it possible to talk to some of the leaders that you've seen, that you've met out there, and get them on the platform?
To me, in Chicago right now, Chicago going up right now. The BDs and the GDs clicked up and they hate each other. I mean, they can't see. This will happen to pass Larry Hoover and King David. You know what I'm saying? They was two leaders together. You know what I'm saying? They was rocking with each other. Then some way down the road, you know, because they're the branches of each other, it broken down. Somebody want King David, King Shorty, King Howard. everybody wanted to have their own little branch, and then next minute, you know what I'm saying, people form other gangs and form other things, and I feel like what happened with George, I don't know how it escalated to Chicago, where Chicago came, where it's a war right now with the BDs and GDs is going against the Latin Kings, and that's Black against Mexican right now. And so my thing is, what I was going to go do is go out there, and it's dangerous because you like the mindset is like, because you know, being in Milwaukee, it's Milwaukee, Chicago's like being in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's like the Twin Cities. You really can't. You have to have that momentum. Is whatever going to happen, because like you can't really tell someone what to do. Just like I learned on 38th in Chicago when my guys came there and they said, "This is my block, this is my hood." I can't. You ain't gonna tell me if that's how.
Yo, let me hop in. When you got a second, let me respond to that.
Okay, and so the thing about it is, we could go out there and try to educate, you know, and tell them that, you know, and I felt that we needed to show it in Minnesota first. You know what I mean? I feel like if they see it happen in Minnesota, because I feel like what happened in Minnesota, it leaked over to Chicago, and I feel like that's why I started when it all happened. Like day 5, I pulled all the Mexicans to the side and I said, "Look, I love y'all. We family. You know, we ride." I started giving them a little bit of history of both our lives and stuff. And I felt like they because they knew about the Chicago stuff too, because you know they got family that's Latin Kings. And I try to educate these men here on the soil where it turned that, where everything turned that out there. And so like, to me, it would be a hard mission to go out there and try to tell them, because you could risk your life. But if you I mean, that's a question that I'm gonna let Lavish take over. Punch in.
After you, Lavish, I'm punching. Go ahead, though.
Punch in, Don.
Word. So you said you can't tell somebody what to do. Now, I'm half white, and I know that white people are oftentimes far more organized than Black people. When there's something in the white world that the white people don't like, it's just like law, and then everybody gets in line. So you can tell people what to do when people know what not to do. When I work at Apple, they show you a million ways how to mess up before they show you how to actually do it right, so that you know you're doing it wrong and you won't do it wrong again. So to say that we can't tell people what to do is allowing a large portion of our community to just stay ignorant. 38th in Chicago the other night, some bloods that don't live here anymore just pulled up. Yo, what's going on?
My homie, my guy.
And no, I'm good. And they just acted ignorant, right?
Yeah.
It was almost like, oh, we can't tell them how to act because they're bloods and they're older. And no. We can. And it's our duty to. And if they don't want to, then they're ops. How would we treat it if I had a business and I said, yo, this is how I run my business, and then you do counterproductive things? Am I going to keep you a part of my business? No. You know, we need to have a one minded.
Let me punch you right there, Larry.
Community, but we allow for these outliers to occur. And having experience in both different communities, you know, I can speak from experience that when the entirety of the group is educated, there's not going to be these outbursts and acts of ignorance, and then we won't have to say, we can't tell that grown man what to do. You don't have to tell him what to do if he knows what to do.
Right.
I don't have to tell you that slapping me is wrong if you know it's wrong to slap people.
So look, right, Lavish. So I'm gonna touch on that because I personally had a run-in with one of the young brothers. I was with my young brother, and he came over here and hollered at him to the side like, "Yo, who y'all with? Who say y'all could do this and that?" And we like, "Yo, brother, we not on that. We here giving away to the community. How you doing? My name Don." Then he didn't want to give me his name. And then he said, "Where you from?" I said, "I'm from Queens, bro. Where you from?" And he raised up, "Yo, I'm from 38. I said, "Yo, listen, man. When I ask you where you from, I genuinely want to know where you from, bro. I'm not banging on you. I don't care about none of that, bro." I said, "Listen, brother, I'm a Crip. I know the Bloods out here, bro. We all sanctioned out here. We not here for that." He said, "Now you saying sanctioned." I said, "Listen, bro, you tensing up. You can't, just like how you say you came over here peaceful, you ain't come with no pole. We the up no pole. And, you know, we over here, we're policing ourselves. We have our own, if you will, militia. You know, certified street legal ARs, certified trained ex-army, you know, so have you. So, you know, I didn't even think to even go call none of them or nothing like that. I walk around with the radio with me. I didn't radio anyone in. I just realized right there what Lavish was saying is the brief of ignorance. And I don't live that life as well. And I'm outside every day. So I understand it. So when I seen it, and I was like that, because honestly, in a different situation, I probably would have been like, yo, listen, bro, you're not telling me to do nothing nowhere I go. Yeah, you better ask about me. But instead of me getting to that tone, I had to level with him and say, yo, listen, let me come talk to you, bro. The older dude didn't want to hear. I said, yo, listen, if you don't want to hear it, get ahead, bro, but I'm going to say my piece. So when I spoke to him, I said, yo, listen, bro, whatever you see, feel like what's going on, I understand you. You from here, we respect that. But respect what's going on here, bro. People over here, we've been here for almost 2 weeks, day in and day out, grinding, sweating for the community, and we ain't never seen y'all. So let's just try to keep this peaceful. I want to remain for this to be peaceful. So we shook
Dom,
hands.
tapping after you.
Yeah, we shook hands. We walked. He walked off or whatever. Then later on that night, they tried to drive through around the memorial, and the security was like, "Yo, listen, you can't do that." Now I guess she was like aggravated. She been on here every day as well. And the dude, he was super peaceful. He wasn't tripping. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna give him a
Man,
bad
you know what
name.
we gotta do? We gotta make being respectful cool.
Yeah, listen.
We gotta make being
Let,
respectful.
let,
It was this
Lavish,
young
listen,
boy
listen,
in the
Lavish.
same patch we was talking about. Yesterday I was in the parking lot. I actually just walked over here. I'm here now, bro. But
Lavish,
yesterday I was in the
I'm on
Lavish,
the
parking lot.
side,
Lavish,
Lavish.
Lavish,
Look,
Lavish.
hold on, Lavish. Hold on,
Lavish.
Lavish.
Listen real quick, Lavish.
Listen though. So when I went up to the car, the same dude I was telling you that came on the side, this time he was strapped. So I went straight up to him and said, yo, brother, we don't need you right now. You good. He walked back. He gave me that respect. He didn't have to give me that
Facts.
respect. You understand what I'm saying?
Facts.
He didn't have to give me that respect. He could have just let it go. He gave me that respect because of how I came at him the first time.
Yep.
So I say that to say this: you can't tell people what to do, but it's how you tell them.
How you say it?
Because at the end of the day, do you really think for y'all that got to know me, do you really think I'm listening to anybody?
Hell no.
Because at the end of the day, I know everyone feel like their way is right, but I know the right way, and that's the way I'm moving. And if you're not moving my way, like how my brother Lavish is saying, then you're gonna have to kneel to it. Because what we doing, you know, as we're trying to establish, and this is why the brother brought us to this panel, is to understand that people are not everyone is going to be okay with what we're doing, because what we're doing is for the betterment of the community. And some people are benefiting off the cesspool. Some people are benefiting off the crime and all of that. And what they don't understand is, if we all work together, whatever you're doing, whatever you're into, you can maximize that at a different height if we work together. But if you want to feud with the community itself, you'll never win. You'll never win. I don't care how many
No.
shots you put up. I don't care what you do. You'll never win.
Facts.
Let me tap
So,
in real
you
quick.
know, we need the community, like he said, to come together to congregate, and we also need a place of communion, like he said. So when he say that, I hear a headquarters,
Let me
I hear security, I hear us funding, I hear the things that we need to put in place that we already know how to do. You can't Google everything you want to do and do it, but that comes with more than a Google. That comes with first of all, a character. What's your character? Are you a stand-up man? Or are you someone that's going to bend and fold? Because we don't fold, we don't bend, we don't kneel. And that's how it has to be. But it has to be for the right things.
let
Because
me
we're not radical. We're human.
Yeah, and you're
Dom.
absolutely right. It's important that we find a structure in which we can stop fighting each other and we learn who the real enemy is and who is really trying to keep us apart. And I want to let you, Tony, and Lavish both respond to that, and then we're just gonna I want to touch back on some of the forward action that we can do after this conversation, and then start putting toward our resources toward that. So Lavish, Tony, you can respond to what he was going to say.
No, so basically what I'm sharing is it's not saying that, like, what I meant to say is, so I'm gonna let this off the rip. Don is a Crip, I'm a Blood. So let's get that off. We can get off. When we came together, we didn't think none of that. We was on a whole different movement. We was on you, on me. You know what I'm saying? And so the whole thing, what I'm trying to say is, going into a different, going into a neck of the woods. I'm from both. I'm from down south in the mill. What I'm saying, when you go into a blood pit where a person don't give no shit about life or death because they lost too many that they mind. Like Don he took everything I said out of my mouth. That actually I had to recalibrate and rethink what I said. Because like I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people do respect me in the opposite hood because the way I talk, I don't try. Hood, use my muscle and I got a body and I got a pole on me. No, I don't think like that. I think I talk like a man's supposed to talk, and I get that. And like that's like one thing I said. We going back to George. That's how George every time, and that's the reason why I respect the situation was going on, and that's why I'm going hard because George always gave me that like he said, don't be afraid to in the end, don't be afraid and don't basically he said don't bend, don't fold, and so that actually happened when he talking about that. Who came over there was my hood. That came over there, came back into their hood. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they feel like at the end it's still teamwork, no matter what cause it is. And I had to tell my guys the first day, like, hey, this is not the reason. Hey, bro, I ain't trying to hear none of that. And I had to keep on, what I'm saying? Like, instead of get mad, I had to tell him, like, bro, like, look, if you respect me and I respect you, and you know how I rock, bro, and you know what I'm saying? Just respect that, you know what I'm saying, where we at, you know what I'm saying? We got all these people out here, we got these little kids, we got babies out here, we got families out here, man, we making a change, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like the more that I spoke, the more that they understood, like, because like I am a stand-up guy. Like I shouldn't have no reason, like, you know what I'm saying, for nobody to feel some sour taste about me ever, because I come very respectful. I come, I could two things. You can either reconstruct and build things up, or you could destruct and tear everything down. And so like my whole thing on 38, we don't shed no color. We only shed the one cause, and we all brothers and sisters, and we stand on the one thing as a uniting with each other. And like I feel like it is like remember I said earlier, it's getting tensed up. A lot of people coming back to their hoods. They, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people seeing that Minnesota on the map, and everybody want to see where the platform started at. And so, like Don, he came and he put some sauce on it, because like it is true. It's not what you saying to a person, it's how you saying it to a person.
Absolutely. Lavish, you wanted to give a thought about something you had experienced too the other day?
Say that one more time.
You was trying to express something you had experienced too the other day.
It might have been the same young dude. He was like 14 maybe, and he just was looking real mad. Somebody always want to be a tough guy. And apparently that day it was him. So I just went up to him and I brought up something about his shoes. I was in Spain and everybody in Spain wore them shoes, and he was just so salty. And I was with this older cat out here. Earlier in this conversation, we referenced Old Man with the Stick. Old Man with the Stick is 65. His son, Robert, is like 45. And me and him walked up to him. We was just trying to see why he was so mad, bro. And then he drank his little juice box. That's how young he was. And then he threw it on the ground right here on 38th of Chicago, littering, bro, where we are having arguably the most beautiful and peaceful thing you've ever seen. He just threw it on the ground. And I wanted to show him humility. So I got down and picked it up. I just felt like my point, I guess, is sometimes we can show people better than we can tell them. And, maybe that what I did right there made him realize that we got to view each other differently, and we got to teach each other that it's all good, really.
Yeah, we got to plant seeds, and that's the best thing we can do, and hope that it becomes nourished by the world. We plant those seeds. We speak life into
There we
death.
go.
Yeah, we speak light into the dark, and that's how it shines through. And hopefully one day they'll understand what we were saying from the beginning, when it wasn't there to be in pain and hurtful in the first place. It's all like Don says, is about the way you say it. And if we move forward speaking love and speaking truth, speaking love and speaking truth into everyone's life who's going through pain and wondering where it's coming from, speaking life and speaking truth, that will set us free. And ultimately, that's what we're all looking for, is to be free. And the scripture always tells us, and the truth shall set you free. So if we can create a platform and a space where we continue to uplift the truth, we can set people free, and we can utilize
That's
this space,
critical.
and it can continue to be sustainable. And that's what I'm hoping to do, and I'm hoping that we can accomplish together. I know that everybody is working on different platforms, different things in the background to help give back to the different movements. Like you, Lavish, can you talk to me a little bit about Revolt Now again as well?
Yeah, so Revolt Now is really like a call to action. It's an organization that I just recently started with a developer and branding friend of mine, to make it so that we can still be proactive and still have our voices heard when something like this isn't happening. Because in a month, 38th in Chicago is not going to look like this. Basically, I don't want for there shouldn't have to be countless black people getting murdered for us to show up and show out and hold it down. And this revoltnow.org that I have just started, all the proceeds from any of the merch goes right back into the charities. There's a group of charities. People can pick which one they want the money to go to. And it's just really having our voices be heard in a visual way. And the point is to be able to raise enough capital through donations as well that we could lobby certain politicians and really get things in black and white. You know, if you see Black Lives Matter, they were funding Bernie and they were funding countless other people. So we need to be able to fund these people. And, you know, through music, I learned that merchandise makes way more money than touring or even the music does. So people love shirts. I got one that says police the police and another one that says defund the police. So it's just a message that we're really going hard with right now. And we shouldn't only go hard for this when an atrocious action like this happens. We should always be holding it down. And that was really the vision behind that, is giving back, not keeping any of the money, and raising money to lobby and get what we want done.
Right. Easy. That's awesome, man. If you want to donate or if you want to buy some merchandise from there, we'll have the link in the description.
Dope.
Ron, can you tell me a little bit about yours too? You're working on something as well. All right.
Yeah, brother. As far as you, what are we talking? Artistic values, entertainment.
All the above.
How you doing, black man? So yeah, so right now I'm working on my clothing brand. I already published it back in 2016. I did a quality control, so it'll be republished by the end of August, inshallah, hopefully, God willing. But yeah, so I'm working on that. Don Lux is the name you can find on Instagram, Don Lux NY, as well as we have the Nation Entertainment Company, Sabrina Umbrella Security Company. Right now, those are the entities I'm willing to speak on, but that's what I'm building, my future endeavors.
Bless. Bless. Yes, we're gonna put that together as well. We want to bring all of these projects so that we can all uplift and invest in each other. And Tony, you are working on something as well.
Yeah, we've been working on this this community center. You know what I'm saying, for people that for we can teach. And you know, I mean, I got a couple of volunteers that's willing to teach about, like I said, the school, like, you know, the things that what matters in life that they took out of school for us to, you know, learn. You know, I mean, I feel like one thing is that, you know what I'm saying, is education, health, and wealth is one thing that we should be educating each other on.
And so that's what the community center is there for, is to be that space.
Yeah, be the space. We got different summer programs. Like we got Nike. I mean, the person that's working with us a little bit above Jordan. We got them going to help us with for the kids. I give out, you know, free stuff for like shoes, clothes, you know, cliques and stuff like that. We got what else we have? We got so much stuff going on.
We're going to go ahead and close this discussion, but we're going to continue on our own. I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to see and to realize that we are connecting. We are building this Black Union across the board. We're having these conversations. We're organizing together. And so as people see that, they'll jump on board and they'll be like, look, yeah, we do need to come together. Here's a space to do it. And at least these conversations are happening so that we can start organizing these things to make us further our community and further our people. So again, first of all, I just want to thank all of you for joining me on this discussion, this panel discussion. You guys is wonderful, blessed, and have awesome, incredible minds. And I'm humbled that you guys would share your energy here with me today. So thank you, Tony. Thank you, Lavish, and thank you, Don. I really, really appreciate you guys.
Man, appreciate you for having us on here, bro, and just sharing your ideas and creating a space for us to communicate. You know what I mean? That alone is important. So thank you so much for the opportunity, bro.
Yeah, brother, and thank you as well, bro.
Absolutely,
I'm on here. Thank you as well, bro. You know, we're gonna definitely build. Definitely want to build with you as well as everyone on this panel, and we're gonna definitely take this into action because, like DMX say, bro, talk is cheap.
Absolutely.
So we definitely gonna apply the wisdom, apply the knowledge, man, and let's see what we can make of it. Because I believe we're all kings here. So let's do the good deed, man. Let's do the service we have once in a lifetime, in our lifetime anyway. That we're alive for an actual, real revolution. We only read about this. We only see movie about this. Now we're in it. So who, like I tell people, who would you rather be? The person that read about it or the person that was written about?
Thank you again, you guys. Thank you, Tony. Stay on the line. But if you guys want to donate to our causes, everybody's link is in the description. The Black Caucus Movement is here to facilitate these live discussions and put forth investment into these solutions. So I thank you all for tuning in, for watching. I hope this has been very informative. And if you'd like to donate to our cause, please see our Patreon. That link is in the description. You can donate to our Patreon where you'll get exclusive information and exclusive content. So thank you again. We also have Venmo as well, and that'll be in the description. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us. And we hope that you've enjoyed this conversation. We're going to continue it and talk a little bit about what we can do next, these next steps. But blessings to all of you. The live stream is now done. Thank you for the Black Caucus Movement.